Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. On today's episode of Digital Learning Today, we're going to be talking to two members of a fantastic company called Cignition and learning about how they are helping tutor students in Ohio to help keep them on grade level. We have a fantastic conversation that actually started back in July at the ISTE conference, and I'm looking forward to having them on the show today. If this is the first time you're checking out TeacherCast, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You can find our audio shows over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you guys find your audio shows. And of course, the video versions can be found on teachercast.net/YouTube, where you can check out over 14 years of our instructional videos, tutorials, and audio and video podcasts. Thank you guys so much for making TeacherCast your home for professional development. My first guest today is the CEO and founder of Cignition. I want to welcome onto the show a returning guest, Mr. Mike Cohen. Mike, how are you today? Welcome back to TeacherCast.
Yeah, doing well, and thank you for the return invite.
It has been great to see you again. Last time we caught up was in ISTE, and of course, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at ISTE again this year in San Antonio. For those who might be new, what is Cignition?
So Cignition is a company that delivers what's called high-intensity tutoring. High-intensity tutoring refers to multiple times a week. Let's say 3 times a week, a group of students will meet with the tutor. We take it a lot further at Cignition. At Cignition, we really care deeply about student learning. In other words, not just memorizing facts, getting through the next homework assignment, but really deeply understanding the material that's being taught. The way we do that, a very key element of our approach, is collaborative learning. What we mean by that is we might have 4 students working with the same tutor, that group meeting for a whole semester, a whole school year, a few times a week. And it's an environment in which every student participates in thinking about the presented problems, presenting their own reasoning, discussing their reasoning. And we find that that really leads to much deeper and more extensible understanding.
The website where you can find more information about this is over on cignition.com. And I want to bring on today also Mr. Mark Mobley. Mark, how are you today? Welcome to TeacherCast.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. It's my honor to be here.
Now, Mark, I'm excited that we have you guys on the show today because today we're announcing a partnership that you guys have with the Ohio Department of Education. Tell us a little bit about this new partnership.
There are 6 different companies that have been approved by the ODE to provide tutoring in the state of Ohio. We're one of those 6. And so there was a grant that came down from their legislature that gave high impact, high intensity tutoring, as Mike was describing it, to these students that are in that particular 20 to 25% range for an entire year. And we worked with 25 different school districts, 32 schools last year across the state of Ohio under this grant, a few more outside of it. But it's just incredible results.
Now, when your students and your tutors are working together, how does that work? Is that virtually? Is that face to face? Do they go to the school? What does a typical tutoring session look like?
So we do complete virtual tutoring. And as Mike said, we're going to meet 3 times a week, 4 times a week, sometimes twice, but we're, even 5. We're looking for about a 30-minute session. 30 minutes, especially for the younger kids, is about as long as you want to go. 3 to 4 times a week. But the real goal, all the research shows, 50 hours over a school year is what you're looking for in order to really make a difference in these students' educational attainment.
So I'm sure there's other school districts that are out there specifically in Ohio that are looking to bring in extra help for their students. How does somebody get a hold of you? What does that process look like? Is it usually set up by the school, or can parents connect with you guys one-on-one?
We can do all of the above. The best thing to do is to start through cignition.com. You were talking about that, and that's just ignition with a C in front, in case you're wondering how to spell that. But they can reach out to us through that. We work with individual students And we, of course, work with school districts and individual schools, and have a lot of different programs that we worked across the state.
I would imagine working with all of the school districts, especially in one area, curriculum might be similar, but it also needs to be tailored for that specific school district. How do you go about working together and making sure that the tutors understand every need of every school district, but specifically every need of every student that they're going to be working with?
Absolutely. So we have a curriculum and instruction team that has developed our curriculum and can absolutely take it and tailor it for each school. And then what we're going to do, we love data informed instruction at Cignition. And so we're looking for the schools to use their data to build those groups because we're small group tutoring. We aim for 4 to 1. Last year across Ohio, we ended up with like a 3.4 to 1 ratio with all of our groups. But um, down to the group level, the teacher can use the data to assign different standards that they want those students to work on. You almost could think of us as almost therapeutic type tutoring. We're looking for those gaps in their educational development and being able to fill those in so that they have the scaffold to build future learning on. So many times we are in the classroom and we're trying to build a second story on an empty lot. And it's just not possible because the students don't have the prior learning. And what we're best at is addressing those gaps.
And it's all about making sure that there's a difference between things like mastery and making sure that students have really that core knowledge in order to be able to succeed in their careers.
Absolutely. And you're using a word that we love around Cignition. It's the idea of mastery. We're not a testing company. We're we're a tutoring company. But one of the things that our CNI team has done is they've built in to each one of our lessons mastery checks. And this is what we use to measure student progress. And so when we build in a mastery check, we're not just looking for a right or a wrong answer. This is not multiple choice. This is not homework help where you have a tutor with a whiteboard that's asking the students, "Hey, what are y'all working on in class?" We're actually addressing those background issues that the teacher or the school has pointed us to. But with a mastery check, our tutors are looking for three things. They're looking, well, can you get the right answer? But did you show your work? Or if we're in the ELA, can you point to evidence from the text of what the actual, where you got this answer? And can you explain your thinking? Mike talked about that a little bit earlier. Getting that confidence to understand how to learn so that they're not just passing the next test and then forgetting, the algorithm that we taught them. No, what we want them to do is believe that they can learn and move forward in life, as you were talking about in your question.
I'm curious about the relationship, if there is one, between the tutor and the teacher in the classroom. Is there any relationship in there? Is there any communication?
Absolutely can be, but we try to make it as light as we can and then let the teachers or the school determine how deep they want to go. So we assign the same tutor to the same group. If there's a group of 4 students, then we're going to assign a tutor to that group. They're going to meet at the same time on the same schedule for the entire school year. Our goal is to build a relationship there, so that we don't waste time when we go into the session saying, "Hey, what do you guys know? My name is Mark, and what's your name?" We're not wasting all of that time. And last year in Ohio, what we saw is that 92% of sessions had the assigned tutor in it. I mean, everybody gets sick or takes a vacation, but we had very, very consistent tutors, and that helps us with our results. But what we try to do is have one point of contact. So it'd be someone like me, a program manager, so that the school can contact me. I can get information to the tutors. I can post on the tutor's site what they want this group to work on. But if they want to manage those tutors individually, then they're welcome to have that contact. We just try to make it as simple as possible because teachers are under a lot of stress.
You're talking to a audience of educators right now, Mark. So my question to you is going to be, what is it? What are the skills that make up a good tutor?
For Cignition, one of the best skills is being able to create the environment where students can learn through productive struggle. So many times as a teacher, we watch kids struggle as they're trying to find the answer, trying to learn, trying to understand. And, we feel bad for them. We give them answers. But to be able to watch those students, let them struggle, let them discuss among themselves, as Mike was talking about earlier, so that they are working together to find that answer. And then, to be able to give prompts. Don't just, check out. What you want to do is give them prompts that doesn't give the answer, but helps them move along the way, highlights the right pieces of information so that they can take their knowledge that they had before and learn how to put that together to gain new knowledge. That's really what we're looking for. It's what we train for. Our tutors get extensive training. So to me, that's the biggest skill that we're looking for is that ability to be the guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage.
There's been a lot of conversations about students needing extra support, specifically coming after the pandemic. And, even in my own students, in my own school districts, I see that students need that extra help and support because of the programs that Cignition offers. I'm sure you have gotten a lot of positive feedback. Talk to us a little bit about some of the recognitions that you've gotten, both from teachers, from students, but more importantly, what do the parents think about this program?
We work with a school in Ohio that is a distance learning school. So they have students from all over the state, but those students are logging in from home. And one of the neat things that we get because of that particular setup is we get a lot of feedback from parents. And that's because they're watching their students have the session, and they talk about, as Mike said, the change in their students' confidence. They talk about how much better that they are reading now than they were at the beginning of the year. We have, again and again and again, maybe a school will lose their grant or, not have the funding for the next year or decide not to have a program next year because of different stressors. But then the parents will contact Cignition and say, we had such a great experience with this tutor or with Cignition that we want to continue. So that, to me, that's the highest praise. You want the parents to see the difference. I had a call from one of my schools just earlier, and she was talking about, I mean, almost in tears. She was so excited because they'd had some stress going into next year, trying to look at a budget, and all of us can understand that. But she was like, "We want to keep Cignition next year." What I see is that the people that are dealing with these students on a day-to-day basis love seeing the confidence that comes out of their learning.
Mike, for any school district out there that's looking for extra help and would like to partner with Cignition, where do they go and how do they get started?
They start out with our website, get in touch with us, and we'll make it happen. We'll get them in touch with the right people at the company. We'll organize everything and we'll make it happen. And we're good listeners. So come ready to tell us what you see the needs as.
In today's educational landscape, there is no denying the fact that students need extra help. The time in the classroom just isn't enough sometimes. They need an extra guide on the side, and that's where great companies such as Cignition come in. Hope you guys have a chance to check out all the great stuff over at cignition.com. I'm, of course, going to have all the links to their socials, their website, and all this fantastic information over on our website. This is Digital Learning Today, episode number 65. I hope you guys had a great time with this. And Mike and Mark, I hope to see you guys this year at ISTE in San Antonio.
Yes, I look forward to seeing you. And we did have a great time.
Jeffrey, thank you so much. It's my honor to meet you. Look forward to meeting you again.
And that wraps up this episode of Digital Learning Today, episode number 65. Hope you guys had a chance to check everything out. And again, all the links are going to be in our website over at teachercast.net/podcast. If this is the first time you're listening to this show, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You can find out all of this over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our video version over on teachercast.net/YouTube. And that wraps up this episode. On behalf of Mike and Mark and everybody here at TeacherCast, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.